Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1586. Happy Monday. I slept in because I was up, I think, past midnight last night. It was a long day, early morning, long day at Janesville, long night on eBay Live. What a wild night on eBay Live. Woo, that was crazy. So we're going to talk a little bit about, oh, wow, it's raining. Nice little morning rain. I'm going to talk about what's happening at card shows. So I'm going to give a little insight on that. We'll talk about a crazy night on eBay Live last night. I think I set some records. I think I set some sales records last night. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm carless. I talked last week about my brakes going out. Fortunately, it was like a stroke of luck. I had noticed my brakes going out. My brake light had come on, and I ignore all the lights in my car. Obviously, I'm not a gearhead. I can't even change my own oil. So I knew my brakes were like not as good. And then the brake light came on. I'm like, I should probably get this checked out. And then all of a sudden, I get a letter in the mail, I think like Thursday. And my brakes had last week had gradually gotten worse and worse. And then Thursday I get that letter in the mail and then all of a sudden it was like, they just stopped working, like dangerously bad. That's when I called the shop and blah, blah, blah. So they're like, we can get it in Monday. So dropped it off last night. I mean, it was so bad. Like the closest thing I could compare it to is like when you're driving on ice and you're sliding and you're like, you slam on the brakes and you just keep like, that's kind of what my brakes were doing, but on dry pavement. In fact, I had to last night after the show, my wife followed me to the shop and the stoplight just down the road. I'm like being careful. Like I'm going slow because I know I've got a stop sign coming up, going slow, and I'm able to stop. Like the brakes aren't completely out, but they're shot. And I get to the stoplight and I thought I had plenty of room and I can't stop. And I'm like pumping the brakes and I'm like doing here's how you brake. And I'm like, shit. So I had to turn right. I had to kind of cruise through the light, take a right. And then I was safe from there. So that's how bad the brakes are. And hopefully they get fixed soon. So I am carless today. So eBay, man, last night, eBay Live was insane and insane in a couple different ways. My sales numbers year to date, because last night was a really good show. I am up now 263% year over year. How's my month looking? I'm still tracking for less than August. I'm 30% less than what I was in August, man. But I had a lot of expenditures in the month of August. I'm going to ramp up because I bought a lot of cards yesterday. And, what I did yesterday, I'm like, I made on eBay Live about what I spent yesterday. And then I'm like, I didn't even touch, the biggest part of my spending, I didn't even touch. I sold one card from the wrestling lot. That's something crazy I did. Bought a bunch of wrestling cards. So what's happening with card shows? I want to talk about that. How am I going to get eBay Live? Let's get eBay Live out of the way because they go hand in hand because I was completely empty on inventory. Now, how can I be empty on inventory when I have 4 million cards? I didn't have any spotlight cards. I didn't have any Jaden Dan. I had maybe I think I'd sold out of all my. I had JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix rookies. That's about it. Now I've got some stuff. I've just got to uncover it because I did a lot of moving stuff around. So I've got plenty of stuff. I just got to find it. So I ended up buying, and I'll go into my purchases in a bit, but I ended up buying quite a bit. The funny thing is I start the show off and I go to my usual suspects of dealers and I'm pulling out cards and it's like, man, I can't just, and it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. The show hasn't even started yet. And I'm like already like, God, I've got to buy. Like I felt like rushed. And then I did a lap. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna, like, how am I gonna, like, I need to buy stuff today. And then you get trapped into like making poor purchasing decisions, which I did not do. Now, did I make money on every single card? No. But did I sell a Cal Raleigh Bowman rookie card for $72 last night and it got paid for? Yes. That I paid about 75 cents for. So I think that set a new raw record for the Cal Raleigh base card. So when I buy a slab for $20 and it sells for $20, I got Cal Raleigh to back me up. So, in fact, I probably made most of my money in that first purchase from Jennings, buying football, because man, football really took off last night. It started off really slow and then it took off. So with eBay Live last night, I started off and I ran like a Jordan Love rookie and a Jaden Daniels rookie, and they sell for like $2. And I'm like, on a Sunday night, like I'm expecting 5 out of that stuff on a Sunday night, if not more. I'm like, man, this is a rough start. It was a really rough start last night. And then I'm like, okay, well, let's switch gears to baseball, see if there's anything baseball. I put a Christian Yelich rookie. Brewers win the division. Christian Yelich having a pretty good year. I've got a rookie card, a Bowman rookie card, Christian Yelich. Cal Raleigh later on in the night sells for $72. Christian Yelich doesn't even get a bid. I'm like, fuck. This is going to be a tough eBay Live. So I had dime boxes at my table yesterday. And I said they were going to be really good dime. They were even better than I thought. Why? Towards the end of the show, I'm kind of consolidating boxes. And I looked through a box that's like all of my boxes were pretty much full. And I look at a box that only has 2 rows, like somebody had completely wiped out like 2 rows of this box. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Until I saw like a Johnny Bench Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary in there. I'm like, I wonder why I didn't pull that. Like, I can move this on eBay Live. It'll sell for $2 or $3. And then I start going through and there's a Willie May. And like I pull a stack like this of dime cards that were all selling last night for $5 to $10 each. And they were in my 10 and nobody bought them out of my 10-cent box. There's Bo Bichette. There's a stack of like 8 Bo Bichette Bowman Chrome rookies. I sold one of them for like $5 last night in my 10-cent box. Now, I understand eBay Live is a different beast than the buy it now section. You know, these are $2, $2.50 card, $2.50 cards likely on buy it now, maybe more. Higher the price, the longer they're going to sit though. So I'm like, shit, like I kind of don't want to know what else was in this box. So, you know, I'm paying 10 cents and I'm getting, say, just probably an average price was probably above $5, but let's just say $5, 10 cents, flipping them on eBay Live for $5. Gem City says dime boxes are a good flip. Yeah, that there. And I'm buying slabs for, I picked up a couple LeBron James PSA 10s because in a previous, actually at the last Janesville show, I paid $15 each for a LeBron and a Luka, like junk card, like common card, base card in a PSA 10. One sold for like $100, one sold for like 75. And I paid $15 each. So I see 2 LeBrons, $35 sticker, probably paid 30 each. I think one sold for 35 and I think one sold for 30. Slabs, nothing last night. Even PSA 10s. It was not a slab market. In fact, I was selling later on in the night when it got really wild. I sold a Brock Bowers score rookie for $26 and it got paid for. The Cal Raleigh was the craziest. That was $72 for a Bowman base rookie. Actually, the craziest was, that wasn't the craziest. The highest selling was a Josh Allen Prism, like pink Pulsar. This Walter Payton, 86 top or 87 tops, sold for $56. All of this got paid. All of this is paid for. All of these were paid for. And Aiden Hutchinson, Donruss the rookie, sold for $5. It's like this. This Josh Allen sold for like $86, I think, or $83. $83 for a Prism pink Pulsar Josh Allen. Some crazy stuff. And I want to text my buddy Craig because we worked out a deal, kind of a trade deal for his tables at the Washington, at the Madison Card Show. And because some of this stuff, like some of these numbers are crazy, but then there's a Jordan Love. Now I understand he didn't have a great game yesterday. And he doesn't charge me sticker. I like add up and I'm like, here, like how much spending power do I have left? $60. All right. Well, there's a $40 card. There's a $20 card. He's like, well, that's sticker. I'm not going to charge you a sticker. I'm like, well, I'll take it. And he's like, well, let me throw in. So and Craig's awesome. Love Craig. There was and again, I don't pay sticker, but the sticker on like a Jordan Love patch was $20. It sold for $5. That Josh Allen sold for $86. A Cal Raleigh Bowman base card sold for $72 or $73. And a Jordan Love patch sells for $5. The Aiden Hutchinson, a Brock Bowers sells for $26. Aiden Hutchinson sells for $5. Now, normally that's probably the comp. It's probably a $5 card. But in comparing within the same, and it's not like that Aiden Hutchinson sold when things were selling at the beginning, when things were off to a slow start. Like I ran that like, oh, if Brock Bowers is going to sell for 26, this Aiden Hutchinson should sell for at least 26. Sells for $5. There was some other stuff that I'm just like, wow. I'm shocked at how cheap this went. And then more so like, holy crap, $83 for a Josh Allen pink Pulsar Prism draft picks, $72 for a Cal Raleigh Bowman base rookie. And the thing is, it's lightning in a bottle. It's kind of like Dan Marino had a good market. I had a Dan Marino, I think the same like pink Pulsar ended up selling for like $30 or something. But it's not always, I've gone like 2 weeks without, all of a sudden last night, my Dan Marino, and I shared this with a few people yesterday. We're just talking about the crazy market on live. And, I'm not sourcing Dan Marino and I did buy some Dan Marinos yesterday, but it's got to be like color. Although I did buy an 87 tops. I don't think I ran that though. I ran the Peyton. What else? The Randall Cunningham rookie. The Walter Payton sold for $56. The 1,000 yard club Payton sold for like $33. The Steve Young second year card sold for like $30. And then the Randall Cunningham rookie sold for like $5. Now it was a little off center. Then the Steve Young was a pretty sharp card and it was well centered. So I still don't think it's a 30. It's just wild. Just wild. Yeah, it was a crazy night. Ended with Jordans because my guy Steve, my Jordan guy, he's my Jordan guy. He always has Jordans. Steve was there and picked through a bunch of Jordans, and those were selling. I can get them for like $150 a card, and my last, probably 15 or 20 cards were selling for Let me see what the Jordans. Can I go into my console? How many Jordans? I can count. The rare air. Actually, the rare air was from Craig, and I think that sold for 32. The Washington Wizards, which is usually on buy it now, people like the Wizards cards of Jordan, only sold for 6. That was one of the lower ones. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I sold 21 Jordans at the end. So let's see. What would that be? 200. What's 200 minus 21? That's 179. All right. I just want to see what my average price on the Jordans. I paid $1.50 a card. All right. So let's see. 10, 17, 14. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm looking at these, and Steve like gives me shit. He's like, I know you're going to quadruple your money on these. And it's like, sometimes I don't though. Like sometimes they only sell for $2. Sometimes they sell for 16. 7, 11. So in 21, and I don't know how many I bought. I paid $90. I paid $90 for all of the Jordans that I bought. Which is probably how many? 90, what's 45 would be the half point. Probably like 60. I probably bought 60 Jordans. I sold 21 of them for $224. So you're looking at $10 to $11 a card and $1.50 spent. So that was a good buy. So like a Wemby PSA 9 Rook. This actually sold for more than I expected. I think that sold for 32. I paid, well, I've got to look back to see what I spent, because I bought a bunch of slabs from Scotty, and I know he hooked me up with a deal. I don't know. He always hooks me up, so I don't add up the number. He just gives me a price. So that, and then I sold one wrestling card. I'll talk about wrestling cards. I sold one wrestling card last night, $15, The Miz autograph. So I've had more and more people asking me for wrestling in my eBay live chat. And it's like, I've got a Bob Backlund WWF magazine. I've got some 90 Classic. I've got just some one-off. I actually have, and I have them down here in one of these boxes. I bought like 100 or 200, I think 100 exactly wrestling cards at the National. I've tried to run a few here and there on live. They just don't move. But I think they will if I do a wrestling themed show, which is what I'm going to do Thursday night. So one of my goals at the show as a buyer yesterday was to find some wrestling to kind of highlight, a benchmark some of these auctions, because most of it before yesterday was going to be a bunch of base cards, kind of like what I do on a weekday show, really, with sports. So I was looking for like a few autographs, maybe like a Hogan rookie or, something, the WWF rookie, not the Wrestling All-Stars rookie. Those are hard to find at, monthly shows. So I'm walking around and I saw a few like leads, and then all of a sudden, one of the dealers that sets up in Janesville and my Madison show, Dustin, he had a bunch. They always have a bunch of wrestling, and I'm looking through, and he's got some cool stuff. Like there's a small box in front with like a bunch of Miz autos and some like small one-offs, and I'm like maybe I could pick up a Miz auto and maybe a couple other cards, because they all had price tags and everything, and then I look over and he's got like a bargain box. He's got 6 2-row shoe boxes. Do I have? No, I don't think I brought one down. Of all wrestling, and it's all marked by wrestler. and he's got a sign like selling entire wrestling collection for $2,800. And I'm like, interesting. So I'm going through the boxes, and there's like autographs and slabs included, and I don't see the autographs and slabs in the boxes. And he's like, oh, it's everything. It's all these boxes. It's this entire shelf and this whole box. And I'm like, oh. So I'm looking through, and there's an Undertaker autograph. There's like 20 Miz autographs. There's a bunch of other newer wrestling autographs wrestlers I don't know. There's some Paul Ellering. There's a Kane autograph. There's some low number like Cena and Charlotte Flair. And I'm like, would you take 25? He's like, yeah. So I bought a wrestling collection. So Thursday night, I'm going to do a wrestling show. Now it's going to skew modern because most of like pretty much this entire collection I bought was all modern. Now there's legend names in there, like an Undertaker auto, a Kane auto. But I've got a lot of, base 80s and 90s base stuff. So I think that's a good, we'll see how this all plays out. I didn't even really look through the shoe boxes. It was kind of a blind buy. It's like, I trust them. I trust that that's a good price. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do 25. Let's do it. Cause I think I can make good money, on piecing that out. We'll see. Maybe not. So that's nuts for me too. Who would have thought? I didn't have that on my card show bingo card. You're going to spend $2,500 on a wrestling collection. Didn't have that. So bought a bunch of stuff yesterday. I bought, let's go through my roster of purchases. I bought packs. I only sold like 1 or 2 packs though. I feel like last night we didn't have a pack audience, though I didn't really sprinkle any in. I had an 89 Pro set pack that ended up, when I pulled it out, it ripped, and then the corners were dinged. So I just actually Sunflower, I don't know if he's in the chat, but he's getting the whole pack for free. So I bought probably 125 packs. Got a killer deal on those. I spent quite a bit with Jennings. Oh, I bought from them again. What else did I buy? I think I'm missing a couple transactions here. Jennings. I don't even know what I spent the second time around. So yeah, I bought 125 packs. I bought a bunch of football rookies, hot rookies from Jennings. Bought that wrestling collection. I bought all the Jordans. I bought just some random. From James. I bought the LeBrons. I bought what else? An Adam Bomb autograph, and then a couple other cards from him. Craig, we did the trade out deal. I picked up a bunch of like random stuff, and then he had a collection walk up to him, kind of a bulk lot collection, and there was some good stuff. I was able to pick out some stuff out of that. And then Jennings, I went back at the end, and I was with Steve and Nick from Sports Card Grading. They're also on eBay Live. They were at the Jennings booth, and I'm like, this is the honey hole. This is the honey hole booth. And so we hung out, and I picked out a bunch of baseball that I did well on. I did really well on that too. It was a good night. So I want to tell what's happening with card shows. It was an interesting weekend here in Southern Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, for card shows. And I want to share some thoughts. And how about the Bears? I was able to watch the second half, and Bears with a big win. Caleb Williams, 298 yards, 4 touchdown passes. That's the Bears team I was expecting to see this year. And I saw a glimmer of hope out of the game against the Vikings. I'm like, I'm good with this team. Like week 1, I'm like, yeah, this team could win 11 games. Do I think this team can win 11 games? It's probably going to be tough. the way they got destroyed by the Lions, they still have big weaknesses on defense. Injuries have a lot to do with that. But I still have hope. It's going to be a tough division. I still think they're better than the Vikings. The Lions are brutal. The Packers are good, although the Packers looked pedestrian yesterday against the Browns. They lost to the Browns, so that was fun. The Packers don't look like the best team in the NFL anymore. But last week I walked back my comments that the Bears will win 11 games. I don't think it's going to happen. I'll stand by that prediction, and if it after week 17, if I'm wrong, I'm ready and willing and able to admit it. So I'll stand by my original comment, but do I think it's going to happen? No. Red Lights in the house. What's going on? He says, go Colt. How about Danny Dimes? Old Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones. And who would have thought that 3 weeks ago you would have told me you're going to be buying Daniel Jones rookie cards for $3 a pop? I'd be like, you're fucking insane. But that's what I did yesterday. I think one of them I got for $1. I think another one was in a $3 box. Actually, it was in a $5 box, but it's, discounted after bulk volume. But I made money on them. Sugar Shane, what's going on? Good morning. Bargain Boxer says card shows are dead. No, they're not. They're not dead, but there's some interesting things going on at card shows. And I've touched on this in the past, and I'm going to touch on it again today. Tom, East Coast Tom, I thought you were going to be in Janesville yet. You would have loved. I'm putting some boxes together, my dime boxes, and I'm like, oh, Tom's going to love this box because there was some oddball stuff, and I don't know if it's still in there. Could have got picked up yesterday, but Tim was there. Tim bought a whole box from me, so thought we would see you there. Boston Smoke, good morning. Gem City says card shows are dead. I'll know if mine is dead come Saturday. Hey, same here. Same here. It's pronounced wrestling. Dime boxes have been my best buys to flip. Definitely. The margin is great. I still want to take my losses on slabs because it still provides something for people that when they come in, and Steve and I were talking about this yesterday at the show. It's like, we want to have cards that people want. When you start seeing your sales, and this isn't just for eBay Live, this is for any sales platform, live selling or static. You've got to have cards that people want. You can put 1 million cards on eBay, but if they're 1 million Aristides Aquino rookies and 1983 Fleer Commons, and people have to sift through that bullshit, like, I'm just going to go somewhere else where I can find stuff easier. And, well, he doesn't have anything I want. But if you sprinkle in, I try to provide stuff that's liquid right now, like that people want right now, but then also throw in like random stuff. And maybe those bidding juices get going, and something that normally on its own in a junkie show wouldn't sell, but all of a sudden the bidders and spenders that want the Jaden Daniels and all these hot cards. I'm staying away from kabooms and downtowns because I know that's an automatic loss for me. I'm staying away from PSA 10 stuff. But for the most part, like if you want Jaden Daniels, I'm going to have Jaden Daniels. If you want whoever else, I'm going to try to have it. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm always going to have it in stock. I may only find 2 or 3 cards of a player. Certainly not Jaden Daniels. I can find those all day, every day. But, Nick Kurtz, a little difficult to find. So if somebody asks for it at 7 p.m., like, yeah, I picked up a Nick Kurtz today. And then if somebody asked for it at 9 p.m., I'm like, well, I had one earlier. And so that's how it goes. But, I also, like I mentioned this before, kind of like with Dan Marino, I don't want to overbuy. Because then all of a sudden I'm still sitting on 100 plus Caitlin Clarks. I don't think I overbought because I've made my money back on that purchase. And it was basically a bulk buy. Like, hey, I've got 250 Caitlin Clarks. Like, okay, I'll buy them. So it's one of those situations where, like Jordans, I'm not going to go buy an entire box of Jordan. I'm going to cherry pick. Because the bulk buys, I get about the same discount as if I bought the whole box, and I can cherry pick. It's like, well, I don't want. There's some of these that aren't worth as much and all that jazz. Apples and oranges, says Max. Unicorn says effing madness. Chris says, I watched some of that live last night, and the guy who was paying the crazy prices said he was new to the hobby. Yeah. It's Steve and I were also talking about this yesterday because this isn't the first time this has happened. And it happens to both of us where somebody just comes in and runs stuff up and they pay for it and buy it and live happily ever after. And I don't know. And the guy made a comment in the chat, like, I'm new to the hobby. I'm probably getting ripped. And I don't know what he meant by getting ripped. Getting ripped off by overpaying for cards or getting ripped off of a substance or something. So, but it's like, I'm not going to police that. Like, unless he doesn't pay. And then it's like, okay, well, but I'm not going to be on my live, be like, why are you doing this? Like, I'm just going to let it ride. I'm not going to say, oh, awesome deal. You just got a Cal Raleigh rookie card. You paid $72 for it. Oh, what a steal. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be quiet. Try to read comments. Talk about my shipping prices. Hit that save seller button. Watch it all unfold. And I'll take your money. I'm going to take the money. Why wouldn't you? This is a business. Adults need to adult. And maybe he thinks it's worth. Maybe I'll pay that. I don't know. Merle says, I love the Josh Allens in the Wyoming uniform. Sunflower says there were pockets of craziness last night. It just depends who drops by. Weekends are interesting to watch, not great for buying. No. And that's why I love weekends. And it's like, God, I missed Saturday night. Although I didn't really have much on Saturday night to move. I missed last weekend. I'll probably miss this coming weekend because it's 2 days of the Madison Card Show. I'll have Sunday night for sure. I don't know if I want to push myself to do a live on Saturday night between shows. Kind of spreading myself thin. Happy Monday, Peter. I saw Cody yesterday. Cody was in the house. He was in Janesville. Chris says, I saw some references to drinking and bidding. Not sure if they were joking. By what they were bidding, maybe not joking. Yeah. Sunflower says, nice Jordan selection last night for sure. Yeah. Picked up, and it was a nice variety. It was different stuff that I bought. Steve had different Jordan cards than what he usually does. He's a big Jordan guy. So he's always buying Jordan in bulk. Which is awesome for me because I can always go to Steve's table and he's like, "Oh, I got more Jordans." Unicorn says drinking while bidding is not a great idea. Hope they learned their lesson. Drunks on eBay Live, that explains it. And that's a lot. That happens live selling on all live selling platforms. I think that's, I was having a conversation at the National about it, and it's like, why are people overpaying for stuff? And I'm like, well, I see it on weekends, and I think it's that. Gem City says drunk eBaying is a fun activity for some. On occasion I've had that wake up in the morning. What did I buy on eBay last night? Oh yeah, I remember that. Merle says encourage people to take a drink every time something comes up for sale during the live. No, that is strongly discouraged. Strongly. In our eBay onboarding for live, that was like the only thing that they really pushed was do not drink on camera. Do not talk about drinking on camera. Like they pushed it in hard. It's like, okay, I'm good. Not saying I haven't in the past. Florida baseball card dude, good morning. Please say you didn't pay $2,800 for it. I didn't. I paid $2,500 for it. You'll probably make money, but for me, that's nuts. I mean, you have to spend money to make money. This is my livelihood. So I have to spend money. It's not like I bought a wrestling collection to just look at, put on my shelf. Like, I'm going to be flipping it. And it's one of those things where, am I going to lose money? Maybe. Am I going to lose a lot? Like, I mean, I'm not going to lose $2,500. It's not like I flushed $2,500 down the toilet. Like, I'm going to make if I don't make that money back, I'm going to make a good amount of it back. So maybe I only sell $1,500 worth of cards, which I expect to profit. Here's the thing. If I didn't expect to profit, I wouldn't have bought it. But even if it's like, well, it didn't go as well as I thought it would. And I say I lose $1,000. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's not like it's going to kill my business or hurt it. He'll be buying hockey and soccer. See, the difference is I actually like wrestling. I actually enjoy wrestling. I watch wrestling, not as much as I used to, but having an Undertaker auto in my possession for a limited time is pretty cool, which I actually have next to me. It's numbered to 10. Check that out. Undertaker autograph numbered to 10. So that's something I'm not going to have a shell listing. I bet that's the dealership. I expect that. I'm going to actually post that on eBay. This is a John Cena gold prism numbered to 10. Here's a Miz auto numbered to 5. This is an actual piece of silver. 1 troy ounce of silver numbered to 35. So that's cool. With the WWE logo. I got a Keith Lee turnbuckle relic auto that's numbered to 75. Paul Ellering auto numbered to 49. What else was in here? A bunch of Miz autos. A bunch of Miz. I think all the slabs are Miz. Gold Refractor SGC 9. I love Action Packed. This is Panini Chronicles Action Packed 9.5. Here's a gold Donruss Elite Gold numbered 1 out of 10. Here's a patch, an auto patch, numbered out of 25. It's a 10.95. I don't know what this is. It's just a base card. Here's a Triple H. This is a gold, 10 out of 10 gold Triple H. Here's the Kane auto. This is numbered out of 10. Gold Prism auto, Kane, numbered out of 10. Here's a Charlotte Flair, numbered out of 5. Here's a Miz patch auto, numbered out of 99. And then here's a gold Dragon Lee rookie. That's numbered out of 10. So and then there was a bunch more Miz autographs, and then there were six shoe boxes full of stuff. So there's good stuff in there. So I'll make, it's not like it's not like I spent $2,500 on a bunch of base cards. There's good stuff that'll help me get back to break even and profit. Uncle Rich says, you did better than I did with purchases this weekend. The only win was some guy had a quarter box with the superstars noted. So although they are from the last 2 to 3 years, I bought 1 to 2 of each Shohei. Go Bears. Big win. I was shocked by how bad the Cowgirls were yesterday. I loved it. The one I went to on Saturday was, interesting. Larger venue, tables set up all over the place. I think more tables for Sunday with TGC. Let's see. TCG. Rich says, and there was apparently a real disaster of a show at Jerry World where the promoter apologized on Facebook for how the show ran on Sunday. Wow. And the one I went to on Saturday was not crowded at all, but it was so spread out, the same crowd, which made the other location look overpacked. So, yeah, it was yesterday's show was definitely down. The crowd was down, but there were multiple shows in the area. Many of the dealers were the big multi-day Iowa show in Des Moines was this weekend. So that took away people because there were a few vendors that are usually in Janesville that were out in Iowa. I think there were 2 other shows yesterday in the Chicagoland area. Saturday, there was the mega show in Franklin. There was a show in New Franken. There was a show in Pewaukee. Those are all within probably less than an hour radius. Then go down a little into Illinois and go an hour. And you're at 2. There's one in Carpentersville and one in Woodstock, which are basically bordering towns. So that's probably within a 90-minute drive. That's probably like 700 or 800 tables of card shows at 5. What was that? Five different card shows plus, Des Moines 4 or 5 hours, but it's a big multi-day show that takes people out of this area. And they're in Iowa at that show. So while yesterday, it did look like attendance was down significantly, it's also an NFL Sunday. Packers had the early game. We're in Wisconsin. There was a decent crowd at the beginning of the show. And of course, by noon, it was dead. But that's kind of what happens on NFL Sundays. It just is what it is. Jera's big issue is he's a great businessman who thinks he's a great football man. Men and their egos sounds like YouTube content creators. Yeah. Uncle Rich says, made this location look like a snooze fest. Merle says, you don't really think the Bears are better than the Vikings? I do. Absolutely. 100%. Without question, the Bears are a better team than the Vikings. John says, I was at a card show twice this weekend. It was great. Finished an epic set no one else here has completed. Skull, says Merle. John says Vikings have a player. They have a bunch of players. They have like 53. John says people don't want my liquids right now, no matter how much I force it upon them. I also bought a PSA 10 this week of a player who has the greatest season war by a player not named Babe Ruth. Man, I'm trying to think. Was it Barry Bonds? Who had the greatest war other than Babe Ruth? Barry Bonds? That's my guess. James says, what's going on? You buy out Jennings yesterday. I did not. I did go back a second time. I bought some baseball at the end of the show. No, I bought a nice box, a nice size box of football when you were there. And then I went back later and bought some baseball. He doesn't like doing bulk deals, which is okay. Like I get when you can share, why give away, what is it? Why give away the milk when you get the cow for free or whatever that saying is? Like, I get it. Like there's sometimes where it's like, I don't want to sell a whole box. Like if you're only going to give me $50 for a box, like I can make that on cherry pickers. So I totally get it. Jennings is they have a couple card shops in Northern Illinois, Rockford and Freeport. They have, in my opinion, the second best bargain boxes at the National behind the Singles Club. They're always my second stop. Bargain Boxer says, ripped off. He was new and drunk. Rich says, I also saw a person spend $5,000 on Zelle with various dealers to find out he had a limit. John says, I venture to guess 99% of people buying modern cards are getting ripped off. Is Zelle free money? Zelle's like a debit card. It is not free money. Rich says, at least he was buying the best names in vintage cards in all conditions. John says, 100% of this Jennings fellows buyers are getting ripped off. I didn't get ripped off because I bought and I already made my profit last night. So I'm good to go. Unicorn has to agree with John. Gem City says it's different than live selling, a repack, break, etc. They can see exactly what they're getting when they overpay. That's true. That is very true. Like, this is what you're getting. The overpaying buyer meant he knew he was overpaying when he was probably getting ripped. Yeah, when you say that, John says, I pay more in the moment at Chinese spas than I was determined to when driving there. Shit happens to all of us. Happy ending. Gem City says, worth a good amount in silver alone. Give me a George the Animal Steel turnbuckle card. I want to see how they work the pieces of the turnbuckle in the card. Maybe it would have to come in a sealed one touch. How many days until the National? Are we counting yet? Wrestling will go okay, especially if you were able to add some stories, info, anecdotes about the items. Unicorn says, my guess is 330 days. Oh, there you go. There you go. I do have some, I've got my Great American Bash ticket from 1996. I've got a couple other random wrestling tickets. But I took the money and ran on the Triple H ticket. Tiger 727, another show in Appleton yesterday. Did okay there, but not great. Oh, really? Gem City says, no way. Vikings are better than the Bears. No, hard disagree. Morning, Mark. I need cards too. So it's interesting. And I mentioned something about this last week or 2 weeks ago about bargain boxes. And there is, and it goes in ebbs and flows. Bargain boxes go in ebbs and flows. And I see this as both a buyer and a dealer of bargain boxes. I spend 90% of my time at bargain box tables at card shows, and 100% of the time I'm selling out of bargain boxes. Actually, I can't say that because when I was set up at the Chicago Sports Spectacular, I had a showcase. I actually own a showcase. I own a showcase and a Pelican case. Who would have thought? I've only used the showcase once. I use the Pelican case every once in a while. So, there was a time about a year ago maybe a year and a half ago, where showcase dealers, they'd put out $1 box or a $2, $3, $5 box. And they're like, nobody looked at my showcase, but man, I made a killing out of my bargain boxes. And now we're starting to see the opposite. Now bargain boxes are largely getting ignored. I don't have as much competition at the bargain boxes. James was there yesterday, but sometimes there's a crowd at 8 o'clock. There's a crowd around like Jennings. There's like 6 or 7 people digging through those boxes. There was 3 of us, yes, me, James, and Black Squirrel. And there wasn't, like, at the end of the show, like towards the end of the show, it was just me and Steve and Nick from Sports Card Grading, which is crazy to me, especially with how good their bargain boxes are. Like, I literally, if I was only doing flipping on Buy It Now, if I was doing what I was doing 6 months ago, I probably would have spent all day at Jennings, all of my money at Jennings. I wouldn't have bought, like, I certainly would not have bought a wrestling collection. I certainly would not have bought packs, junk wax packs. I certainly would not have bought any slabs. I certainly would not have bought whatever else, other things I bought. Like 90% of what I bought, I would not have bought 6 months ago. I would have spent all my money at the Jennings table and would have spent all of my time there. I would have walked around a little bit, but I would have spent all of my time there. So yeah, that's definitely different. And, 6 months ago, a year ago, there was definitely more people at these bargain boxes. Now, has attendance slowed down? Was attendance down yesterday? Yes, but there were shows everywhere this entire weekend. We're seeing more and more shows. Obviously, it's going to dilute. It's not like we have a never-ending supply of card show goers. I heard that attendance was way down at the mega show on Saturday. The first one had a great attendance. Saturday's show was way down. A lot of empty tables, a lot of empty spaces. I'm interested to see how Saturday in Madison goes. How will Saturday's show go? I don't know what other shows are going on Saturday in Wisconsin. I don't know if there's any other shows in Wisconsin Saturday. I know there's probably a couple in the Chicagoland area. But it'll be interesting because Saturday has since the Pokemon show, the Pokemon only show on Sunday, the Saturday attendance has dropped because a lot of the Pokemon are a lot of the crowd. And many of them are like, well, I'll just come to the Sunday show because it's all Pokemon. And we're sold out on Pokemon. I think I am sold out for Saturday now. I got to go through my roster one more time leading into this weekend. So Madison Card Show this Saturday and Sunday. Pokemon show, Pokemon only on Sunday. So I'm interested to see how things go this weekend. And we'll see how the bargain box now. And I can tell you, and this is not anecdotal, like bargain boxes are down. This is not anecdotal. This is also specific to the shows I'm at. Like this weekend alone, within a 2-hour radius, there were probably a dozen shows. Now, does that mean at Franklin or New Franken or Woodstock, does that mean that there were, the bargain box tables were down? No. Woodstock, John's table may have had 7 people the entire show. But I've noticed, like the big show, DuPage County Fairgrounds, they did like 15 transactions at a huge show with very well attended. Now, I know I lost at least one sale yesterday because I had a guy early on and he was there before the show started, and he never came back, and he usually buys from me. Like, oh well. Probably I think I did 7 transactions yesterday. I used to do 30 to 40. A year ago, I was doing 30 to 40 transactions at the same shows. Now I'm doing 7 to 10. I did 7 transactions yesterday. Now, I don't spend much time at my table, especially since I started selling on eBay Live because I'm buying a lot more. I lost one sale. It's like, but it was probably a $10 sale or a $20 sale. Like, for me to stand at my table for $10 for probably an hour for $10 or $20 when I can be out buying cards like a Cal Raleigh for $1 and flipping it for 72, it does me better. And, a lot of people will come find me. A lot of 7. I think 2 of the 7 people had to come out and find me like, hey, I'm ready to check out. Here's what I got. I'm like, oh, thanks. And we did it. Actually, one sale, it was like I think a $20 sale. He's like, I filled this box. I'm like, how many cards? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, how about $20? And I was at the Jennings table. I think I just finished up at Jennings. He's like, I think there's some other guys that are ready. I'm like, okay. So I'll go back to my table, check a guy or 2 out and go back and shop and come back an hour later. Like, I know that's shitty business, but I'm not there to sell cards. I'm there to buy cards. The selling aspect is just, hey, if I can make $100, $200, that's just gravy. That's another $200 that I knock off the wrestling collection I buy or the entire transaction at Jennings. So, did I lose? I probably lost more than just one. Like, somebody else may have had $2 or $3 worth of cards. And it's like, well, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to go chase this guy down. Somebody might not have even known whose table it was. Sometimes people leave somebody bought 50 cents worth of cards. Somebody bought $1 worth of cards. Like, am I gonna, is it worth my time? And then you could say, well, just don't set up. Well, because I have a lot of customers that spend 3 hours digging, and we also know, I can go check in on them. I'm like, hey, I'll be back, or they come find me, and we have that relationship, and I understand other people we don't have that rapport. But I'm going to keep doing that. And I don't set up at many shows. So Janesville's pretty much the only one I've been setting up at. Where we at? Unicorn says Timber Rattlers Stadium show. Mark says, you doing Chicago again? Possibly. I'll be there. I will definitely be there. I don't know if I'll be set up. I basically just kind of squat at my buddy Wally's table. So if he has something going on Sundays, is the last 2 shows, he hasn't been able to set up Sunday. He's like, hey, you want my table? I'm like, yeah, sure. Basically, if that happens again, if he doesn't need his table on Sunday, I'll come in on Saturday and buy, and then Sunday, maybe I'll have a showcase. I don't know. I'll probably just be advertising my eBay Live stuff. If not, I'll probably go down the first night. When does that start on a Friday? Is that a 3-day show? I think that's Friday night. I'll probably come down Friday and Saturday. I'll probably come down Friday, hit it up first thing, probably stay over, and then do Saturday morning, and then head home and do some lives on Saturday night. Uncle Rich says I should also mention a couple things. Number one, it's Herman's birthday today. He may not be here, but happy birthday, Herman. We haven't seen Herman in a while. Happy birthday, Herman. Number two, a person pointed out the drunk prices someone had out. $10 for a 1989 Topps Randy Johnson. That's eBay Live pricing. And $15 for a 1988 Donruss Tom Glavine. It's like, if I saw that at a card show, I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. But then that's what it sells for on eBay Live. So I guess I can't hate on it. Mark says, and put your eBay Live flyers at my table. Ooh, thank you. I will take you up on that. Tiger727 says, yes, sir. Second time we have set up, having fun with it. How is that show? It's not very, I don't like talking down on shows, but it's not very well promoted. I never know when it is. Now, even if I did know when it was, I probably wouldn't go. I don't go to many shows, but I never see it advertised. So I wish they would at least post it somewhere. I don't even think it's on any of the card show calendars, which, by the way, I don't think my shows are on Beckett because Beckett sucks. I cannot. It only works. The card show calendar for a dealer only works half the time. Half the time it works, and then I just like, fuck it. I'm not going to fuck around with this. And then sometimes it works. I think I've even gone. I think I've gone live, and I've been like, here, this is what happens when I try to add my card show to the calendar, and it just let's just do that right now. Also, second, I have to Google Beckett card show calendar because I can't find it on the website. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, let's see. Let's log in. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's search Wisconsin. It is on here. September 27th and November, but October and December are not on here. Well, what the hell's up with that? Oh, maybe it's because it's a different venue. Oh, yeah, because that's Sheraton Hotel. All right, maybe that's why. Oh, okay, my shows are on. Interesting. There you go. October, December. Okay, so everything is good to go. All right, and I am locking in the. I got to sign the contracts for January, February. We're gonna do January, February at the Alliant. So we'll do 3 straight months at the Alliant. December, January, February, March. We'll be back at the hotel. Let's see. Gem City says one day they will find a way to use AI to match the overpaying of live auctions, and the junk wax will boom, or maybe not, or it could go the other way. I can't give too much information, but for the 2 we have set up, it's been good. They were saying maybe October 19th would be the next one. See, there you go. When's the next show? Well, it might be next month. Might not be. Tiger says, I say can't because I don't have much experience as a new seller. Gotcha. Tracy's in the house. Hope everyone had a relaxing weekend. It's a fun weekend. All right, so that's what I had for today. We are exactly in an hour making Bargain Boxer happy. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. My next eBay Live will be tomorrow night. Today's a shipping day. Tonight is also Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. So we're hosting Rosh Hashanah tonight. So I will be live tomorrow night, Tuesday night, eBay Live. I got to get that link created. And then Thursday will be the wrestling. So I want to, that's what's in the pipeline today. So I need to get my lives scheduled. I also need to get the good wrestling stuff loaded. So I can have that runway to market it. Unicorn says, I thought of setting up there, but went a couple times and doesn't seem like too good of a crowd. Alrighty, so like and subscribe. check out my eBay Live tomorrow night. We'll go live probably 7 or 7:30 Central Time. Porter, you're just in time. 1 hour stream, 1 like. There you go. You're just in time to see us say goodbye. All right. Have a wonderful Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.